USA. It's a really good ball. It's Shabalala. Goal! Bafana, Bafana! Goal for South Africa! Goal for all Africa!
Frank de Boer speelt de bal. Heel goed naar Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp neemt de bal aan. Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp.
جهانبخش ابن عالی پاس خوب سردار میچرخه پاس تو در محبی گلش کن گلش کن گلش کن گلش کن گل گل برای ایران
¡Golazo! Argentino, 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 genio, fenómeno, ídolo, maestro. ¡Qué golazo de Messi! Uno más.
Goal! 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 Total José! Goal of Aristeas! Goal of Aristeas! Treleni total.
Howard gratefully claims it. Distribution, brilliant. Landon Donovan, there are things on here for the USA. Can they do it here? Cross, and Dempsey's denied again. And Donovan has scored. Oh, can you believe this? Go, go, USA! Certainly through. Oh, it's incredible. You could not write a script like this.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special episode of The Window. We are delighted to be joined by a very special guest from one of our favorite national teams, a team that is based in Europe. This is actually our first European guest that we've ever had on the show. So we're very excited to welcome Yannick Yankam to the show. Yannick, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. I didn't know that. That's interesting. First European guest. I'll take that.
Yes, yes. I guess I should clarify, first European player guest.
Okay. I'll still take that. That's good.
Yeah, that's pretty high. That's pretty high honor. So we're very thrilled to have you. So thanks again for joining us. So you are actually not very far away from me. I'm just up the road in Cincinnati, and you are currently playing for Lexington, which is in USL League One right now. But they'll be moving into the USL Championship next year, which is very exciting. You have represented Malta 14 times, and you've scored 1 goal for them, which is awesome. And the goal came in your very first match for them, which I believe was against North Macedonia. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So 14 caps, you're starting to be a bit of a veteran now, right, in the team, which is really cool. You were in the squad in September, so you were there for the Nations League matches. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But yeah, I guess the first question that we have for you is, so what was it like to represent Malta, represent your country for the first time?
I think it's one of the biggest honors, to be honest. If I'm being completely honest, I was really nervous. It's kind of nerve-wracking. So you're dealing with a lot of emotions. But honestly, I can't think of a bigger honor just to represent my country. And it's something that I dreamt about as a young kid, starting off in the streets of Malta. I think everyone that plays football aims to one day be there, watching national team on TV, watching their games, watching them play against big teams. It was always a goal, and to fulfill that has been amazing.
That's
and
awesome.
Not only coming in their first appearance, a European qualifier, and scoring on your debut. What did that feel like? It's probably like the dream start. You couldn't have even imagined that. I would have to think.
You can't write it any better than that, can you? Honestly, in that moment, we were losing the game 2-0, so I scored the 2-1. And I had to sort of obviously subdue my celebrations because we were still losing. But my head was going, I can tell you, my head was going a million miles an hour. I'm like, did that really just happen? All that stuff. So yes, it was a really great time in my life and in my career. I have fond memories of that period.
Perfect. So I think we're all really curious to hear what is the vibe of the Malta national team. So when you get called in and you head over there, and you're in camp, like what is it like to be with everybody else on the team? Like what kind of music is playing in the locker room, and like who's the funniest, goofiest player on the team, and like who do you see as the leader, like kind of the leader in the locker room, so to speak? And um I guess I'll throw this one in there too. Who do you get along the best with on the team? So I shot those really fast at you. So if you want me to repeat some, let me know.
Okay. There are a couple. I'll start off with the vibe. I think it's always nice to see the boys back in Malta. That's especially since I've moved out. I don't get to see them so often, so coming back is always nice. And the vibe is always that we can go there and win. To be honest, we go there, try our best, and to be honest, we try to play our game against anyone. If it's versus England, versus Italy, or against Moldova, we try to be positive and think that we can go out there and get a result, a positive one. As for the other questions, I kind of forgot because you gave me
Yeah, I know. I went fast.
so just shoot them at me 1v1,
Yeah.
and I'll try my best to answer.
Well, what kind of music do you listen to, and
Oh yeah.
did the boys listen to your music?
Oh yeah, the music. Nah, my music has not made it in the dressing room. I can tell you that. It got shut down pretty quick. But right now there's a sort of revolution in the music. Maybe the more veteran players usually had the DJ rights, but now some of the younger players, as myself, Joseph and Bong, we kind of took over when it comes to the music. So more Afro beats, more kind of that sort of style. I'll say more Afro beats is predominantly in the dressing room.
DJ
But
Yannick.
when the veterans do take over, it is heavy techno,
Heavy
techno or
okay.
house. Yeah, so it's quite a difference.
Yeah. So do they call you DJ Yannick?
No one has ever called me that, and do not think about calling me that.
And some of the matches you've played for Malta, the European qualifying group was just very tough for Malta, just being grouped with England, Italy, Ukraine. Probably, in my opinion, the toughest group in European qualifying. But at the same time, you did get the experience playing against some of those teams. So what was it like to play against some of these very highly rated national teams and some of the players that are viewed as some of the best in the world?
I mean, as you said, it was one of the hardest groups. But to be honest, I always saw that as an opportunity. To be honest, when the group came out and I knew we were playing England, I sort of circled that in my calendar. I was like, okay, I gotta be there to play that game. I have to experience that. So as far as difficulty level, it was definitely the hardest role possible that we could have had, playing against top rated players. You see some incredible skills, incredible level. The intensity, the pace is different. But at the same time, I felt that we gave a really good account of ourselves against some really good teams. And I think that's what football is all about, competing, and the big guys against maybe the underdogs, and you're still there competing, fighting, and at the end of the day, it's still football. So that whole experience was incredible to be a part of. And it's funny. I kind of recall my second game was against Italy. So in 1 week I went from playing in the Maltese Premier League. That's kind of all I knew, and then next thing I know, I'm looking in the tunnel, and on my right is Donnarumma, Tonali, and I'm kind of like, I'm halfway, like, yo, that's Tonali, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, yo, I'm about to play, so I can't be fanboying right now. So you gotta keep a certain level of focus in the moment. So that experience was crazy, and I loved every second of it, to be honest.
Yeah. And while the results may not have ultimately been there, as you mentioned, it wasn't big score lines. 2-0, 2-0, a couple matches. scoring against Ukraine. So, I mean, Malta played these teams tough. And I think for what people expected coming in, I think Malta certainly showed very well in qualifying, as tough as that group was.
Yeah, definitely. There's some talent on the island. I think is very underappreciated, and maybe there's not many eyes and many eyes looking at it. But there's some talented players, and that I've seen that I've played against in the league, and honestly, we can do a job against anyone.
Nice.
So, how does the mindset for the team change as you think about the Nations League? Because it's certainly a different animal, and Malta playing in League D, in a group with both Moldova and Andorra. Presumably, going into this, you have to be thinking we're going to win this group, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the goal. As I told you, like we kind of had that mentality going in, even with the bigger teams. So obviously, when it comes to this league, without any sort of arrogance, we go into, as you said, win the group. So the mindset shift is not that much different. Maybe that what's different is the expectation. Now that people back home expect for us to get the job done and won't be happy with just a good game, but not getting the 3 points. So I think that's the biggest difference going from the qualifiers to the Nations League.
So in September, you beat Andorra, and then that was the second game, I believe, and then the first match you guys ended up losing to Moldova. But in October, you guys play Moldova again. So with your win against Andorra and Moldova's win in the group, you guys are tied on points. So it's kind of a big game. Is that kind of how you guys are envisioning that match as well in terms of you and the team? And how are you guys feeling ahead of the October window and that match?
Yeah, of course. I mean, in the first game, as you said, we didn't get the job done against Moldova, but now we get the chance to get them at home and have that rematch. And as you said, it's between the two teams that have won a game, so it's a big game. It's a crucial game, and the feeling at home is that since now we're at home, we have a better shot of making it happen.
Yeah. You guys have a match before the Moldova game against Turkmenistan, which is a friendly. I know both Brandon and I are both very excited about that game, mostly because we like it when we like to see teams from different confederations face each other, right? So obviously Turkmenistan in Asia, you guys in Europe, and in terms of Malta, you guys, it's not very often that you get to face competition outside of Europe with Euro qualifiers, with World Cup qualifying, with Nations League now. In fact, the last time that you played somebody outside of UEFA was Venezuela in 2022. So are you excited about the friendly against Turkmenistan? And would you like to see Malta and maybe some of the other UEFA countries have more opportunities like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting playing teams outside of your continent, I should say. Obviously, it's friendly is more of a build up towards the Moldova game. But you can't take these things lightly, and every game with the national team, you have to savor it because they don't come easy and they don't come often. So just approaching the game in the same way and going there and enjoying it and doing our best and trying to win so we can build up the winning mentality. So more of the same, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And so both games are in Malta. So it makes it a little bit easier from a traveling perspective in that you're not having to go to Malta, go somewhere else. Being home and in Malta for 2 games, what does a typical day with the national team look like?
So basically we would be in a hotel. So we'd all be together, sleeping there, eating there. So basically it would look like waking up, having breakfast together, going back to our rooms, having some free time. And throughout the day, it depends. If it's on match day, we'll have a couple of meetings, just talking about, tactics, what we want to do. And that's throughout the camp, to be honest. So that's throughout our stay at the hotel. Then we go to training. have our training, have our meetings there as well. Train, shower there, basically go back to the hotel, have dinner, and yeah, rest up. So it's that's pretty much it. Not too exciting, I know, but that's
Well,
it.
it's probably a lot better than after, the September window,
Yeah, the
going to
September
Moldova,
window was
going to
was
Andorra.
some crazy traveling, honestly, because
I'm
we
sure.
stayed a few nights. Like I think so. When we went to Moldova, we spent a night in Rome, and then we went to Moldova. So went to Italy, Moldova. Then after Moldova, flight to Barca, stayed the night there. Then after Barca, going to Andorra. So it was like a 4 country, 5 country road trip
Wow.
Yeah.
around
Wow.
Europe. And you can imagine me after a 20-hour flight from the US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was already jet lagged enough. That was definitely a unique experience, but it had its own like fun in it, because you get
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
explore these cities. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Nice. I don't know if you can share this or not, but are you in the squad for October? They have not released it yet, so I don't know if you can share it.
I cannot share that.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. You can give me a wink or something. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just messing.
I'll give you a
Uh,
sign off camera.
Yeah, there you go. So what is your best memory from being with the national team? Like out of everything that
Thus
you've
far.
thus far. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I'll pick two. I think the obvious one. I mean, I'm blessed that I have a couple of great memories. Obviously the goal. But I would say Wembley was incredible to be a part of. Um, I have this vivid memory of, because as I told you, while you're playing, you're professional and you're not
Yeah.
thinking, "Oh my God, I'm at Wembley." You have a job
Yes.
to do,
Right.
and but there was this moment in the match where I rolled out to the right, and I received this, like crossfield crossfield ball, and I was completely alone. And for 1 second, as the ball's traveling towards me, I'm like, "Oh my God, this ball is coming to me." There's 80,000 people. It's about to skip off the grass. There's Rashford right behind me, or whoever was playing at that moment. I just have to make sure this first control is good, and I'll be all right. But I had that like, oh my God moment for like 1 second, and then okay, switch back on to the playing. But I would say my number one, and this might flip flop and change over time, but for now is the Italy game. Was my full debut. You have the nerves of I've never been here before. It was sold out in Malta. And I played a really good game, one of the best games of my career against the opposition. And I think the best feeling was when the coach didn't take me out. He made some changes at the 70th minute. I was like, okay, maybe this is done, and he kept me in, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing all right. And then afterwards, the result obviously was not what we wanted, but my performance was good, and having the floods of messages, people reaching out and congratulating me, all that stuff. It was a really fulfilling moment.
I have to imagine that just going through that and like you said, not being subbed out for,
Yeah.
it's just got to give you a ton of confidence that like I can do this and I belong here.
Yeah, definitely. It was a big test because it was a big risk as well. Because I hadn't been in that situation ever, and just to be thrown into the wolves basically. A lot could have went wrong, but I thank God every day that things worked out okay.
Love to hear you talk about just the crowds and how do you hope to see the game grow in Malta?
I think, as I said before, I think there's a lot of kids with potential. But I do wish to see a better, uh, for lack of a better term, pipeline from the youth level towards the big leagues and the national team eventually. And I think, as you see with like other smaller countries like Iceland, and that invested in the youth sector, invested in the coaching, invested in the ages 5 to 13, where that foundation really happens and is really important for each footballer. I'd love to see more investment there. And you won't reap the benefits right away, but in 10 years, 15 years, you get a crop of players that have the foundation to go on and do some great things. So if I had to say one thing that I would hope to see Malta do much more, would be that investment into that youth sector.
Is that something that you may not have thought about this, but is like coaching something that you would like to do after your career?
Nah.
No.
Nah. I don't know. I mean, who can tell what happens in the future, right? Maybe the right situation comes along, but as of now, no, I don't think I'll be involved in football after I'm done.
Gotcha. So that kind of leads into my next question. Did you always love football? Like, did you always know that that's what you wanted to do?
Oh yeah, that was my first love from the beginning. There was no other. Like, I had other things, other passions, obviously, which came close, but football was number one from day one.
Awesome.
Nice.
So coming from the Maltese Premier League and now playing with Lexington in the US, how would you compare the level of competition and the playing style and really just the overall environment between both of the leagues?
I mean, there are a lot of differences. I find the style of play here to be more focused on attacking, while in Malta it's more of the Italian style of tactics and defending and stopping the attacks. So I find here to be more creative players, whereas in Malta there's more of the tactically astute players, which come out, especially defenders. You asked me another question in there. What was that?
How would you compare the level of competition?
I wanted to say something, but it slipped my mind. Can you re-say the whole question?
Sure. So just coming from the Maltese Premier League and now playing in the United States with Lexington.
Oh yeah,
just comparing the level of competition in the Maltese Premier League.
Comparing the two, the big difference for me is the traveling. It's been very, very, very different. As you know, Malta is tiny, and we have around 3 stadiums where we play all our games. So a home and away doesn't really exist. Whereas here, you have a game in California, you have a game in Seattle, you have a game and these are places where it's 6+ hours of traveling, which in Europe would be, I mean, that's saying going from Malta to Norway, So it's pretty unprecedented, even for your European teams, if you're not playing in the the Champions League, Europa League, or other stuff. So that has been an adjustment that I had to make, and it's really different. But at the same time, it's fun to actually experience, because it's part of the professional footballer life, going away, coming back, exploring. Gave me a chance to explore the US a bit. So it's been a very interesting learning curve.
You had mentioned earlier about giving some of the youth a better opportunity to like get scouted and picked up by the Premier League in Malta. It's the Premier League in Malta, right? Premier League, I think. Yeah. So how was it that you got discovered?
Well, my story is basically from around 3 to around maybe 15, 16. I played for the academy. It was called Pieta. So that's where I kind of got my foundation and, was playing for the youths. But then around that time, that 16-year-old, actually before, what am I saying? 14, around 14, 15. I left Pieta and went to my hometown club, Ormi. And that's where I really, got the confidence and had the support of the club, to be honest. The club was going through sort of a transition period where it had 3-4 successful years, but financially there were problems and the team wasn't as strong as it used to be. So they were in the top division, and they needed a midfielder, and I was doing really well for the U team at the time. I think I was just 16, and this coach he gave me my shot, and from there, luckily enough, thanks God, I took it. I took the opportunity and started playing regularly from 16. I just turned 17, so 16, 17. And yeah, that's where I got my start. So I played there for in the Premier League. We got relegated the next year. Spent 2 years in the first division of Malta. Then got promoted back in the Premier League, and that's where I had, you can say, my breakthrough season, where kind of announced myself in the Premier League. And from there, got my transfer to Birkirkara, which is one of the more historically relevant and big teams in Malta. So that was a big deal at the time. And that's where I was before Lexington. Spent 5.5 great years there, to be honest. So sorry I gave you the whole story of my life.
Love hearing it.
Ask that, but I kind of started. I couldn't stop.
All good. We love hearing about it. What was the process like moving to Lexington?
I mean, there's nothing that you can really do to prepare yourself for it, because you're kind of going in blind for a lot of things. Luckily enough, I had one of my teammates in my old club. He played for Lexington here, and he also helped to facilitate the deal. And he gave me a lot of information about the club, gave me a lot of information about the area, how it is, how it's not. But you know how it is. People can tell you how it's gonna be, but until you're in it, it's you can't really say until you're in it. So there was a lot of adjusting to do. But to be honest, I found some great people here, and the transition was smooth. I'll say that for sure.
Have you been to Rupp Arena?
Of course. Luck. I couldn't believe my luck. The first month I was here, Drake came to the Rupp Arena, and I was like, I'm not missing. You know what I mean? We don't see those type of people in Europe. It's tough. I only been to one festival, like maybe one concert. I'm like, if Drake is right down the corner, I'm going. I'm there. So yeah, that was one of the first places I went.
I don't blame you. For our listeners, so the University of Kentucky is in Lexington, and so their basketball arena is Rupp Arena, but it's a very, very well-known facility in the United States. So holds 20,000 people. It's just a phenomenal venue.
Yep, it was great.
Very cool.
And J. Cole was there as well. So double header.
Perfect.
Wow, yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got lucky.
Yeah. In terms of stadiums, and I should know this better than I do, but I know Lexington has either opened or is opening a brand new stadium. Are you excited about that? Is it open?
Yeah,
okay.
It's open.
Yeah.
It's open. We had the first game about 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago now, and we played 2 games there. Yeah, I mean, I remember that was one of the selling points when I was coming to Lexington, that they have this investment, they have this project, and to see that culminate over the months has been great. And honestly, playing there, it's different for me as well, because as I said, I'm not used to having like a home stadium. But seeing that investment around you just makes you want to work 10 times harder.
Nice. Yeah.
Awesome. I wanted to ask Joe, I know you like asking this question. I wanted to ask this one, but just about Malta, and what's your favorite Maltese dish? Favorite food from Malta?
I would Maltese. So it has to be Maltese. Has to be. Okay. So, because I was gonna say lasagna that my mom cooks would be the favorite one, but
nice.
I'd say I have to go pastizzi, right? I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a pastry full of cheese, basically, full of oil, and it's incredibly delicious but incredibly unhealthy. So so eat it with caution. But as a footballer, I try to avoid it. But I'm telling you, it's class.
Okay, nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. So this is a question from one of our listeners. And I can't believe he's asking this, and I can't believe I'm asking this, but can you drop us a few freestyle bars?
Hell no. Oh my God. No. No,
Yannick's politely declining. Thank
Yeah,
you to our
politely
listener for
declining.
asking that question.
No. It's a fair shot. He tried it.
He did.
I'm a professional footballer, so I'm kind of the music stuff is to the side for now. But who knows? Maybe in the future.
That's fair. Okay, well then let's try this one. So when you do go back home to Malta, what do you like to do there in your like hobby-ish or for fun?
Oh yeah, I mean the first thing I do is I'm gonna go see my family always.
Yeah.
So spend time, go out and see my friends. It's funny, sort of when I land, I just grab my car and hop around the island and just meet who I haven't met in a second, So I would say that's my favorite part of going back and what I like to do when I'm back in Malta. And especially if it's summer, go see the beach next to water, definitely.
I've been to Malta. I loved it.
Yeah.
Got to see the Blue
Really?
Grotto.
Oh
Got to
wow.
see a number of different things across the island.
Yeah.
We took an ATV and just kind of rode in the back and drove around and
So
really
you know
loved
how
it.
it is. You know how beautiful the beaches are.
Yeah, very much.
So going from that to where I am,
Yeah.
you miss it, right? So
Yeah,
the
you were
second I
not
land-
close to a beach at all.
Yeah. So yeah, I need to go right back there when I'm there.
No hurricanes in Malta, right?
Oh yeah, that stuff was crazy. What's
Yeah.
going on, man? Hurricane storms. The power was out. I'm like, nah, this is different.
Yeah, it was an adventure. What is your and you may have already answered this, but what is like your favorite? I'm gonna say snack, but like, what is your favorite kind of like guilty pleasure food wise?
In general.
Yeah.
Or Maltese.
No, in general.
Oh, okay. I'll say there's this one. I'm laughing because all of my friends would know what I'm talking about. But there's this one burger restaurant that sells burgers in Malta. It's called Hugo's Burger, and there's one particular one. It's called Luke's Burger, and that one is almost I have to get it when I'm back in Malta. So yeah, I don't know why particularly that one, but yeah, I guess that's my guilty pleasure.
Okay. So would you say that place is your favorite restaurant?
No.
Okay, what is your favorite restaurant then?
My favorite restaurant would be, it's an Italian restaurant in Malta. It's called Marrobbio. It has this very Italian style, great pasta, great pizza. Yeah, definitely that one's up there.
Yeah. Nice. Favorite football player, sorry. Favorite football player.
Ever.
Yeah.
Gotta be Ricardo Kaká.
Kaká.
Yeah.
Nice. Favorite sports team.
AC Milan. Makes sense.
Nice. And then last question, at least from me, I don't know if Brandon has any more, but who's your favorite music artist?
This changes by the day. But right now, I'll say the one that is putting out really great art and is doing it in a lot of different levels, I would say A$AP Rocky.
Love some A$AP Rocky.
Yeah, he's great. He's great, honestly. And I have my boy back home in Malta who makes really good music. His name is Elfer. Honestly, so underrated. Makes amazing music. He just needs a little bit of shine. So I'm gonna plug my boy as well.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah. Glad to hear it. And the last question I had is just, when people think about Yannick Yankam, what would you like them to think about?
I think before anything else, I think we're all people. So I would like to think when they think of me, think of a good person, someone that helps and someone that's, there if you need them. Apart from that, when it comes to my career, my profession, my art, you just have to leave people have their opinions and you can't really control that. So I kind of leave it up to them and try not to bother so much with that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us, talk about your career, the Malta national football team, give us a little insight about Malta and how things are working there. And it sounds great in terms of where the team is headed and opportunities ahead, especially with the Nations League. And we really wish you the best and appreciate you joining us for a special episode of The Window here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, guys. It was fun.